It's 8:08 p.m. and we are reconvening from executive session. Mr. Muccio, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Deca.
Here.
Mrs. Eder.
Here.
Mr. Suchaki.
Here.
Ms. Prout.
Here.
Mr. Dobbins.
Here, 5 present, none absent. Moving on to agenda item number 11, superintendent's business. Mr. Evans?
11A, approve resolution with the Ohio Schools Council granting a majority vote of district superintendents the authority to modify, amend, and supplement the Ohio School Board Association policy. B, approve the student handbook for Cuyahoga Heights Pre-K 23-24. Item C, approve overnight travel for cheerleading to a squad to attend UCA camp, University of Akron. 12A, accept resignation of Jen Blados, school bus driver and cafeteria worker. 13A, approve reemployment of classified staff per the attached document. 14A, approve reemployment director of pupil services contract assistant principal, 6 through 12, 3-year contract. 15A, approve the updated 22-23 chat supplemental positions contracts. 16A, approve John Sokol as a district substitute teacher for 22-23. 17A, approve agreement with ESC of Northeast Ohio for Communication Services 23-24. I ask that those items be approved.
Okay. So may I have a motion to approve the superintendent's consent agenda items, please?
So moved.
Mr. Suchaki moves.
I'll second. Are you?
Ms. Deca seconds. Mr. Evans, any discussion or comments on these
I'll go
items?
through some things really quick.
Sure.
The Ohio Schools Council, that means that I don't have to bring the resolutions back to you and you guys have to approve a resolution. Then the 65 districts that are part of the OSC would have to do that. It grants the authority for the superintendent for them to work on for their policies. So that's all that does. The overnight travel for the cheerleading squad, they self-fund that. They do that through fundraisers. That's the cheerleading camp down at the University of Akron.
I was curious, but then I looked at the agenda, I guess that's why they have to stay overnight, because
It's also a team building bonding thing, it's Akron's close, but I think it's meant to be a team building thing, and I think Akron's where they've gone for quite a few years with it, so there's there's cheerleading camps all over the place during the summer. This one, quite honestly, seems very affordable compared to some of the costs I've seen on some of them.
okay.
And they self-fund that through their own fundraisers. Classified staff, hopefully you got a chance to look at the attachment there. I want to thank Tracy Deal for working with Mr. Muccio's office. You can see where the people are in their contract rotation, whether it's 1 year or 2 year, one of the first of 3, 2 years, wherever they're at. Those that are up for continuing contract, that's a very well done document, and that takes the coordination of Tracy and working with the treasurer's office staff to get that done. And Mr. Sokol had such a good time filling in for Mr. Hamrick. It was funny. I see Mr. Young laughing back there, but it was so fun to have John back in the building, and he stopped down and gave me his daily jokes, which I never remembered after he leaves, but he's always got a joke for me. But I think he's really excited about being able to come back and work with the kids. He's excited about the kids. As a matter of fact, a couple of days he goes, "You got to come down and listen to what we're doing, with the kids." So he really, it's fun to see John kind of recharge after a little bit of time away. And then the ESC for the communication services, that's the same price it's been for 2 years. Margaret and Charlene do an incredible job, and I think we get a pretty complete breakdown of the work that they're doing. They really do a fantastic job for us.
And they're still staying under the $45,000,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah. I was specific to make that for the total, because some months it's more than other months,
Yeah.
because like when they're doing the spring newsletter, sometimes it's a little bit more because there's a little bit more work to go in that month, and other months it's less because it's not. But they are way out in front of it. Like they just sent us something I hadn't thought of. I'm glad they did, about just updating all the admin bios on the website. Just a little questionnaire. They asked us for a headshot, so I sent them a picture of Robert Redford for mine. But just it's nice to those are things that are not on a list for me to do, that
Yes,
Charlene and Margaret they just keep the train rolling. So
that's good. I'm glad.
Anything else, Mr. Evans?
Nope.
Okay, if there's no other questions for Mr. Evans, we can move to a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Souchaki?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Ms. Press?
Aye.
Mr. Nevins?
Aye, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Evans, Superintendent's discussion and comments.
Right before the finance meeting, I got an email from the NAM, National Association of Music Merchants, and once again, we've been awarded the Best Community for Music Education. And I somehow have to check on this. I know we've gotten it every year that we've applied for it, which is, I think, almost 20 consecutive years now, but I think they've only offered it for 20 years. And I think we're the only school in Ohio I know that's gotten it, because somebody's bragging about getting it 12 years in a row. I said, they're not even in our ballpark.
Yeah.
45 Ohio schools got the award, but I know that we've gotten it every year that they've had the award. I got to get the exact number.
So this would be the 19th consecutive year.
19th consecutive year. That we received the NAM award, and that's, that John and Jane for a long time, and then the transition with some new people, and Ange really being the, tying it all together and know what needs to get done, and so that's tremendous for us. And that's, what I'm really proud about that is that's K-12. And I think this year was a shining example that if you saw the musical that they put on, it was fantastic. And they have the Wolf Club, Drama Club now over in the elementary building that's really exciting, and the work the advisors put into that, so that's fantastic. The last thing, I think you all got the OSBA update on HB 33. The only thing that really kind of impacts us there is that it looks like on the House's, the House plans to update the base cost to 2022 data. That would take the student number from like about 6,800 to about 8,000, which would raise our money a little bit. Again, remember, we're only 5% of that because we're on the guarantee with that. So we'd get a little bump with that, but whether that makes it through or not, right now, I thank the board. I got you guys out a lot of stuff. I really appreciate you reaching out to the legislators. I think that they're really kind of dividing themselves right now in Columbus. As I said downstairs in the finance committee meeting, Andy Brenner has tried to make an amendment to one of the bills that if Matt and I or even take vacation days, we can't work on school levy stuff on vacation time because that's board paid vacation time, and we're still. So, I mean, that's how insane one side of this thing has gotten. I think Matt Dolan's a lot more moderate. I think Matt's easier to work with. So, Gail Manning and some of the other representatives. So I appreciate all your efforts with that. I think that makes an impact. Phil Robinson, the more I talk to people, the more highly respected he is outside of our area. And I think he knows, and it's good that, he supports a lot of our initiatives on that end of it. So I appreciate all the contacts that have been made and continue to be made as we head toward this. I think it's going to come together real quick in the next 2 weeks because they want to get it through the House and the Senate and let the governor get his hands on it a little bit. And the one negative was that going from 400% for the vouchers to 450%, which is like, why don't you just say
Here, why don't we
1,000?
just give you
It's
everything?
like you were at 80% before. How many are you missing? It's like what was the number?
1.5 billion over 2 years.
1.5 billion. Yeah, so it's like that's the way. That's what the legislative
No accountability.
team would. Yeah, and
That's the main point right there.
right. And let me. Sorry, Matt. I'm messing with stuff here. These are some cards from the first ring. Take a couple of these, but these just have some talking points. This first ring, if you get asked or people in the community want to know, feel free to give those out. Those are some concerns that the first ring kind of put together. Some of those directly impact them, some of them do not. So, but then you saw that I edited the one letter 2 to kind of reflect a little bit because for me that student, that administrative fund was still kind of a sticker with me that a parochial school, that we would ever get less than a parochial school would get for the same student, as kind of a burr in my saddle.
Not just less, 75%.
Yeah, Yeah,
Not like a little less,
Yeah.
but a lot less.
yeah. So it's like,
$814.
why would it cost us any less administratively to see that student through than what a parochial school is? So that's just,
And to your point, I think you said, like, it actually costs us more because we have to deal with the kids that they don't want.
right. Well,
And then
which,
and then we have to bus them to those schools.
Matt and I
And pay
were
for
having a
that.
discussion today because Matt was at the Bassett meeting yesterday, and, some of the superintendents, are just really still up in arms about things in general, and the legislature likes to divide and conquer on some of these things, so, I think one of the big discussions we had amongst the first-string superintendents, along with the urban 8, along with the mid-size urbans, and even, I think, the Alliance has been on the same page. It's about being unified on a lot of our talking points heading into this, and I think you've seen that with some of the stuff from OSBA. I think there's some unification on some of these base items that we're really kind of pushing home with the legislators, so we'll see how it works itself through.
Well, thank you for your efforts in trying to advance public education in our district. It's appreciated. No small feat. I'm going to move on to agenda item number 20, board policy and bylaw review.
Calendar, I'm sorry.
Oh, did you want to wait for board, or you want to do that now?
We can do that.
You call it.
I just, if the board could thanks, Matt. Take a look at the calendar that Matt passed out. And the dates that we're talking about for a possible vote on a levy would be May 3rd. The May 3rd board meeting. May 24th, and then June 21st.
Just to repeat again, May 3rd is or isn't a meeting?
May 3rd will be a discussion, but not a
Okay,
presentation. May 24th would be a first vote, and June 21st would be the second vote, which we have to have, and then Matt would walk things through.
and what was the second date for the second vote?
June 21st.
June 21st.
Did we
Jerry,
know
is
if we
that
had
in
any
June?
conflicts? I know, Jen, were you okay with
So May 24th, I'm okay. I get
21st?
back,
Or, okay,
May 24th, I get back, I have a 5 o'clock, I get back at 5 o'clock. So as
Okay.
long as my flight's on time, I'll be good.
okay. Gary, I know you had some summer conflicts as well.
Yeah, I will not be here on June 21st.
Okay,
I could be here on June 28th, assuming the plane is on time,
I cannot. I
because it
leave the
gets in
27th.
5:30, but you have some,
Well-
I leave the 27th.
but you have something to
so
do, so.
here's the
toss up and I know-
conundrum, and Matt mentioned this in the conference meeting, because this is what Parma ran into. They had 4 board members at the meeting, and only 3 of the 4 voted in favor of it. They needed 4 out of 4 because it's the total number, it's not the number in attendance.
It has to be.
This has to be a 2/3. So if we had 4 in attendance, we could still vote on it, but all 4 would have to be in favor of it to
We
move,
vote on it
to
the
move
7th,
forward.
Or do you have to?
Or we could do a special, or we could just do a special meeting. We could find a date and do just a half-hour special meeting to vote on the second time.
We can't vote the 7th the second time?
Yeah, we could.
I think I'm also not here on the 7th.
But
The
Matt
June
said there's
5th.
10 days that
It's-
the
that's-
county
yeah,
has
that's
to
been moved
review it.
already.
After the 24th, they need 10 days, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
That's
that
gonna
10
be too
days?
close.
It's 2 weeks.
that's probably too close.
Yeah,
Okay.
could you summarize really quickly what you said downstairs about the 10 days? You
Yeah.
need- Is it, the county needs 10 days? Board of
Yeah,
Elections?
Cuyahoga County's been late on a few items, so
They have to review
I'm
the-
not quite
after
sure
our first vote on
how
it, we send
much
them.
they'd be able to oblige that 10 days. So I'm hesitant to
So
rely on Cuyahoga County.
they have to have 10 days in between our votes.
No, they get 10 days to work on after the first resolution on the calculations.
Before we can vote again.
Yeah, then they would do the
So it
exact
takes them 10 days
calculation.
to give us back kind of all the information, and then we would have to compile everything and put it on. So probably we're looking, we could probably do it the week after the 21st. Or a
But
couple
no,
days.
she's not
What's your drop
available,
dead to the
right?
I'm on vacation the 27th.
Yeah, so,
July.
I can call
month of
in.
July, nothing in
no,
August.
it's
No,
like,
you
you
can't.
have to call in
No.
on that other date.
Or is like, is there a date in July that we have to like?
Maybe we can do the 14th. Is that something available, June 14th?
But when,
No, Gary's not around,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
No,
out
why-
for 3
why not?
weeks.
In
I'm
June.
leaving in June. I'm leaving on the 6th and returning on the 28th.
And
I'm
when
sorry,
are
I'm
you
leaving
out?
on the, yeah.
You're out that last week in June, Jen? Are you at that whole end?
27th to July 9th.
So we.
What about July 10th? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
July
Monday.
10th, Monday.
That works for me.
Gary?
Without looking, I believe that works for me also.
Okay.
And that, because you said anytime in July we could take it down.
I believe so. I'll triple check.
So let's tentatively mark July 10th.
Right.
Please check your calendars, and then we'll verify that, because it would be a special meeting. We can post that later, but I want to make sure everybody's on board with that.
Do you think it would be at 6 or 7?
I would just soon do it as early as we could, because it's, again, it's a one-item board meeting, so if we can do it at 6, that, you know,
Are we going to keep the 19th then, the July 19th meeting? We're going to keep that?
yeah, because that's just in case
Yeah.
we get into having to do some hires
You
or
have to
whatever.
hire or stuff,
If
yeah,
I get
that's
a
always an
late
important meeting.
resignation or something.
That's an
Are you
important
okay with
meeting.
that, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't.
Well,
You wouldn't be there.
I wouldn't be here for the 19th.
Okay, just so we're
That's
clear.
all
right. July
4 out of
19th?
5 of us would be present for the July 19th
Yeah,
meeting.
and
Gary
and
wouldn't.
quite honestly, I facetiously said something about my schedule, but with my wife, quite honestly, that might be when we're gone. But
The
I'll be
19th.
in town. I'm here.
It's good to know that someone's here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
want to go on vacation anytime, but I don't know when.
So what I was
Well,
kind of
not
getting to is,
July 10th, or.
is should we basically combine the 19th meeting into the 10th meeting and just, no. One meeting, one item, move, okay.
Right.
Got it, okay, good. So we should plan on 2 meetings in July. Got it. Thank you.
Alrighty. Sorry, thanks, Matt, for reminding me. The board policy, any questions on the updates on the policies?
These are all required by law.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
what I understand, that's what's driving the changes, okay. Okay. So with that then, I think we can move to a vote.
Do we have
for the
to have
policies.
a motion for those?
Well, that's what I was saying, can I have a motion to approve the board's consent agenda items, which in this case are the board policy and bylaw reviews items, 20A through 20F?
So moved.
Ms. Pross moves,
Second.
Mr. Souchaki seconds. Is there any additional discussion on these policies? Hearing none, let's move to a roll call vote.
Ms. Prowse?
Aye.
Mr. Souchaki?
Aye.
Mrs. Decker?
Aye.
Mrs. Etter?
Aye.
Mr. Downs?
Aye, the motion passes 5-0. Board item 22, board discussion committee reports, et cetera. I'll just open for myself. We attended the finance committee that preceded this meeting earlier. I think Mr. Muccio and I have basically summarized the substantive parts of that meeting. And there was a comment made that the May 3rd board meeting is the meeting at which I believe the finance committee proposes to conclude its deliberations about what its suggestion is to the board about agenda items, or about levy items. With that, is there any other comments, reports from the board? Okay. So, are there any other items for board, future board agenda items? I think we've talked through the calendar issues. Hearing none. Item 24A, it should be noted the Board of Education members receive their agendas several days prior to the actual meeting, thus they have considerable opportunity to study it, ask questions, etc. 24B, upcoming regular meetings. Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m., Wednesday, May 24th at 7 p.m., Wednesday, June 7th at 6 p.m., and Wednesday, June 21 at 7 p.m. With that, I make a motion to move that the board adjourn to executive session pursuant to ORC Section 121.22G5. And I'll also note, also G1. So may I have a second, please?
Second.
Ms. Decker gets a second? I don't think there's any discussion, so let's move to a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dobbins.
Aye.
Mrs. Decker.
Aye.
Mrs. Etter.
Aye.
Mr. Soucek.
Aye.
Ms. Press.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. It is 8:28 PM, and we are adjourning to executive session. No action will be taken when we reconvene.
We can turn microphones off and you can stay up here and have those discussions